Hey guys, it's Cobra, and this is episode 4 of SEGA versus Nintendo. I actually took a 1 week hiatus because I couldn't do it last Thursday, but it is coming this Thursday. I know I do them late at night, but nonetheless, it's gonna be up. So I was originally planning on doing a different game, but I decided on this one sort of last minute. Um, Yeah, it's a more well-known game series, so let's go ahead and get started. And in case you haven't seen the title, we're gonna do Contra today, guys. Now Contra was an arcade game, but it was ported into the NES, I believe. I'm not sure on that one. I think it was an arcade game, and then ported onto the NES. And it was wildly successful. You know, everybody played Contra, and it's still really popular today. And it spawned some sequels. There was Super C, which is actually Contra 2, and then there was Contra Force. Now, these are all on the NES. Unfortunately, none were released on the Master System, so I can't do a comparison there. But after Contra Force, which was actually not actually a Contra game, Contra Force was a different game, and they just put the Contra name on it, kind of to make money. And it's sort of a rare game, and it's not very good necessarily. So that it's sort of collectible, but regardless of that, they skipped Contra 3. They just called it Contra Super C, not even technically called Contra 2, but Contra Force. And then when it came to the 16-bit games, they just went right to Contra 3. And that's what we're looking at today, guys. We're looking at Contra 3, The Alien Wars for the Super Nintendo. Now, it was pretty good. I like the idea that they kind of did away with Contra Force by calling this Contra 3, so giving people the right idea. And I gotta tell you, this game kind of kicks some ass. It's pretty damn good. And, oh, sorry about that. Anyways, it's a pretty good game, and it was never released on the Genesis. Now, this happened with a few different games. That the same game wasn't released on the Genesis, but a different game of the same title was released. Let's look at Castlevania. There was Castlevania 4 and Castlevania Dracula X. But on the Genesis, all we had was Castlevania Bloodlines. Now, they're similar, kind of, but not necessarily. And what we got on the Genesis was Contra Hardcore. There's some debate on the name of this. It's a Hard Corpse, Hardcores, Hardcore. You know, I don't really officially know what it's called, so we'll just call it Hardcore. Sounds better. Anyways, this one is different than this one, and I think you'll be surprised as to how different they are. But which one's better? I don't really know, so let's play them both and find out, guys. Alright, guys, it's Contra 3 on the Super Nintendo. Let's go to the options, see what we have. Alright, looks good to me. I'm going to play for a few minutes. I don't know if I'll beat the first level or not. I doubt it, because they're sort of long. But I'll try my best. In fact, I'll probably get a game over before I beat the first level. Because, like previous Contra games, this one is rather tough. Ah, you bitch. Yeah, there's just no mercy in this game. Oh, that's cute. I can't get up there. Oh my god. Whoa. The controls in this game are nearly perfect. Great sound. I gotta tell you, first off, before I even play the Genesis version, Actually, I've already played it, but it's going to have some tough competition with this one. Everything about this game plays perfect. Oh. Game looks great too, graphics wise. Wow, very nice. Oh, first boss. Not too tough. Oh, the homing missile's nice. And you actually have 2 weapons. So, whoa. Whoa. Oh, come on. Alright, guys, that's, I'll just stop here for the Super Nintendo version. Now let's take a look at Contra Hardcore on the Genesis. Alright, guys, Contra Hardcore on the Genesis. So far, they're almost the exact same game. Well, now we're changing it up. Alright, let's check out the options. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. Alright, let's start this. Alright, first off, there's a character select screen. You get to pick between the wolf guy, the robot, the guy, and the girl. Let's just go with this guy. Ray is his name. Okay, there's a story. Now, the thing with the other games is there's a story to them, but I believe you had to read the manual. It didn't really tell you in the game. But I guess it's nice that it did. Wow, everything seems to explode in a huge ball of fire. Oh, man. Okay, first things first, the controls are pretty much the same. You know, everything runs just as smooth here as it did on the other version. I'm not really sure what hit me there. But anyways, everything seems to run smooth as far as controls go. I'm having no problems here. Let's try somebody else. Try Teen Wolf. Oh, Fang is his name, sorry. Okay, graphics. Well, you know, everything in the foreground looks pretty good, but the background is missing detail that it had in the Super Nintendo version. That's not a killer or anything, but the Super Nintendo version definitely looks better. Whoa, what the hell? Okay. See, one problem here, though, is that, wow, is that when things blow up, half the screen's engulfed in flames, so it's hard to see. That's a problem, and it sort of adds unfair difficulty. Alright, one more time, we'll play with Badwin, is that his name? We'll play with the robot. This will be our last go-around here, guys, then I'll give my verdict. But so far, well, this guy's short. Actually, that might be an advantage a little bit. So far these games are pretty much the same game, almost, to be honest with you. But yeah, this one is slightly more difficult than Contra 3, and from what I've seen, does not have any sort of, well, it doesn't have any sort of difficulty setting. Wow, I don't know what gun this is, but it really kicks ass. Okay, guys, so you've seen them both, and let me just give a quick recap. Contra 3 for the Super Nintendo. Um, Graphically looks great, controls well, music's great. It's a good game. There's nothing really about it that's a killer. It's difficult, but it's not difficult to the point in which you want to rip the game out. That was the Super Nintendo Contra 3. Now let's take a quick glance at this one. This one is different, yet it's the same. It's more of the Contra. It sort of follows the same pattern as Contra 3. But here are some things that I like better about Contra on the Genesis. First off, there's 4 playable characters. There's more explosions, so there's slightly more action, and it's a tougher challenge. No doubt about that. But let me tell you a few of its shortcomings. Graphically, it's inferior to the Super Nintendo version. It doesn't mean they're bad graphics, but the Super Nintendo does look better. The music is not as good, but that's sort of commonplace between the two. And basically the challenge, it is almost too hard. It's a good game if you are you're hardcore and you want to really try a game that's really going to test you. This is a good game. And it's not that Contra 3 won't, but what's good about Contra 3 is it has a difficulty setting. Easy, normal, hard. If you just want to have a nice gameplay action, go for easy. If you want a stern challenge but still have fun, go for normal. And if you want to really test yourself, go for hard. That is a huge bonus to have a difficulty setting, and I did not see that here. Did I look in the wrong place? I don't think so, because I didn't. I looked in the options menu, and that's where it should have been, but it just wasn't there, guys. So this week's decision was actually pretty tough, because the winner. All right, I'll just go ahead and say it. The winner has got to be Contra 3. This is really good game. It's really a good game, and I really love it. I like them both. It's just certain things about the Genesis version that I don't like, that are sort of better in the Super Nintendo version. Like the graphics are better, and it didn't happen when I showed you some gameplay, but it has happened before where my guy won't be able to shoot down and to the right while moving. He'll have to stop and stand still. I don't really know what that's about, and it's probably not the game's fault. It's just maybe some sort of error that I could fix by shutting it off and turning it back on, things like that. But in the end, guys, I'm going to have to go for Contra 3. Now, don't get me wrong, again, if you have a SEGA and a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, pick them both up, because they're both worth your time. So this week's winner, guys, is Nintendo. So stay tuned for next week, and I don't know if I want to give away I don't want to give anything away, but we're going to take on an unlicensed game for the Nintendo that was on the Master System. So we'll go back to the 8-bit guys. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next week. And it spawned some sequels. There was Super C, which is actually Contra 2, and then there was Contra Force. Now, these are all on the NES. Unfortunately, none were released on the Master System, so I can't do a comparison there. But after Contra...
Let's rock.
We're gonna do Contra today, guys. Now Contra was an arcade game, but it was ported into the NES, I believe. I'm not sure on that. I think it was an arcade game, and then ported onto the NES. And it was wildly successful. Everybody played Contra, and it's still really popular today. Hey guys, it's Cobra, and this is episode 4 of SEGA versus Nintendo. I actually took a 1 week hiatus because I couldn't do it last Thursday, but it is coming this Thursday. I know I do them late at night, but nonetheless, it's gonna be up. So I was originally planning on doing a different game, but I decided on this one sort of last minute. Um, yeah, it's a more well-known game series, so let's go ahead and get started. And in case you haven't seen the title.